Oh yeah, hey guys, it's Spider-Man on PS5. Spider-Man 2 finally releasing on PC, close to the release of Shadow Generations, just for some attention.
I was gonna do that, and then I came back and...
It's kind of funny though, because like, this is such a bizarre thing to give the cartoon hedgehogs as a real ability that they can use in their arsenal. But when you think about it, this already happened in Sonic Superstars, technically speaking. Locked in. Chaos Control. And mission solved. Let's go. Yay, Sonic Forces! I don't know why. I didn't even read what it said. I just saw the word Sonic Forces and got really excited. Like, I saw the logo and I was like, hey, I like that game. Oh, that's interesting. You have to directly make contact with one of these orbs. Otherwise, he just does his little goopy walk. That's his official name now, it's Goopy Walk. I like that the reflections on this almost look like oil, and his trail behind him, when it settles, it doesn't look like anything you would want to ingest. There we go, clear. As easy as that. That's almost done. I just need to double what I already have. Just for the roof. I've got to think about all of, like, the hardcore Sonic historians that are going to be seeing, like, all of this revisited concept artwork from a bunch of stuff that they didn't show in the original Sonic Generations because it was a little bit too obscure at the time. But then they're going to have such a fun time just, like, seeing what they decided to put in the game this time around. And they're going to be pointing at the screen like Leonardo DiCaprio, and they're going to be like, I know that very specific Sonic Eraser concept art. I really don't recognize a lot of the concept arts I'm seeing. Oh, Solaris. Wow, that's kind of cool. We're getting like a compendium of like all the kaiju gods in the Sonic franchise in the collection room this time around. Look at these narrow pathways. This makes for some really fun platforming. This gameplay gimmick almost reminds me of like the action chain challenges in Sonic Frontiers. I like that I'm getting stopped in gameplay so much by basically the concept artwork jump scares is what's happening. It's actually quite silly, but novel at the same time. Very much appreciated as a fan, for sure. Okay, this part's a little stressful. 12 seconds and a dream. Nah, I got this. Nah, I'd win. Oh, I like that they're using the purple dash rings. I like how as soon as I said the purple dash rings, it immediately clicked with me. Ah, yes, this is going to be Chaos Island. Oh wow, yeah, you got the architecture of the ancients with this kind of stone. The molten lava, gravelly parts of the ground here. Of course, like I was just saying, the purple dash rings. You can only access this area after the fact, unlocking the squid, which is really cool environmental storytelling. Wait, that's awesome! They really Hey, that ain't half bad, though. Sounds like a Sonic Hero song. But I was gonna say, that's really clever of them to add the mix and match pieces of, like, the ancient stone with Eggman's platforms. Because that was my favorite part of the environmental design in Chaos Island, and just Frontiers in general. Looked really nice. So it's cool to see them incorporate that on the structure for the hub here. Oh, wait, no, wait, this is so neat. This is the button from Sonic Frontiers. These are the springs from Sonic Frontiers. They've recolored the egg beetles to be like a mix of blue, gray, and purple to fit Sonic Frontiers as well. All of these platforms are from Sonic Frontiers. Oh, that's so sick. Because all the other areas had like brand new platforms and like stage assets that fit their respective games. That goes hard as fuck. That's like some early 2000s Mario Kart art with the pose that he's in. But it's cool because they had to remake new assets for the other areas like Rail Canyon over there and Kingdom Valley and Sunset Heights over there. They like made new platform assets that looked in the same vein as what would appear in that game. That looks creepy as hell. That's interesting. You can like kind of hold it too? Yeah, you can like hold that button and like slide around with it. They don't really explain that at all. But yeah, like look at this. They got like the shining, glossy metal surface of these platforms that people were complaining about because it didn't look like it was in tune of what the Ancients' architecture was like, which I agree with. It was a little weird seeing metallic platforms floating in the sky compared to the alternative that could have been some stone platforms. These platforming segments that I'm seeing here in the open world are reminding me an awful lot of like the platforming segments you would see in the Wyvern boss arena that like spawn in that general area that allow you to climb the tower. All of that so we can get to these floating pillar islands with like their pyramid bottoms. I guess it's time to stop dicking around and just get to Shadow Frontiers. So weird to immediately revisit a location from the last mainline 3D game. Wow, I just felt like nostalgia for my own Shadow Generations video I made using this song. I did a mock-up of the Island Rush mod.
No!
I made my own mock-up of basically what Chaos Island with Shadow would look like by basically using the Island Rush mod, which allows you to go through all the platforming segments in a level. Hi, soldiers from Frontiers, hi! Oh, it's so nice seeing just the enemy variety. These aren't even Eggman badniks this time around. This is the Ancients creations. Oh, so cool to see him in a linear platforming aesthetic like this. Oh, and you have Eggman's like IKEA lamps and his boxes, and you get to see more of his setup while he was surveying the islands. They got the red variant of them too, and I'm pretty sure they have the white variant. I saw that in the background. Hello, alternate pathway. Don't think I didn't see you. I recognize this part. This is like the side of one of those like temple-looking buildings that were kind of like flying in the sky. Oh, so sick that they reuse the proper pink and blue pulleys and springs and all kinds of that stuff. Okay, the squid, it kind of has like an element of skill to it where it's like if you want to go on that wall pathway, you're gonna have to stay in the squid form without coming out of it because you're not gonna go back into it without hitting one of those purple balls. I really respect that. Another thing I really respect is that a lot of the platforms in this level are made out of stone, like I was just saying. Whoa, they incorporated the web and the satellites. Oh, they erected the spike shields around them! That's their attack! I didn't notice! That's so cool! What great attention to detail! Also, gotta say, the piano segment of that song works really well as I'm just exploring this area. But like, they mix and matched all this scaffolding, all these like crystallized mountains and everything. Like, they keep mix and matching decorative elements from the other islands all into Chaos Island. And ironically, they're making a lot more visually interesting Chaos Island than we got in official Frontiers. This is a crazy cool level. I'm seeing Chaos Island in a whole new light. It's almost reminding me of the concept art for Chaos Island, which I guess we might see as an unlockable in this game. And now here we are heading into one of the ancient temples, which were one of my favorite explorable locations in Base Frontiers. Oh, so far the opening of this temple looks like one of the open ones. I'm so happy that he saved himself. Yeah, it looks like one of the open temples that you would enter in like kind of the beginning of Chaos Island that's just out in the open before you talk to Tails for the first time. That looks like the area we're in right now. And then this segment, this little hallway looks like one of the underground temples that you get to go to later on. Ooh, the closing walls, that's cool. I thought I was like doomed to get crushed and die there or something. Oh, this is the broken ravine that the Death Egg robot shot for you. And this reminds me of the platforming challenge that you have to do for Tails to get the remaining parts for the Coco. Where you have to destroy all those metal boxes to get more tools. That's really sick that they incorporated that Black Arms enemy on that segment where there's like lava that's so easy to fall into. Because you gotta lock in, you gotta react to their overhead attacks like a fighting game, and you gotta anti-air their asses. Nah, but they cooked with this song. It sounds completely fine in gameplay. It does sound weird isolated with all its dubstep wub-wubs, but I am a fan. Oh, and this is like the top of that big, weird, spiraling 2D platforming segment in the sky. Surprisingly, I got a C rank. I'll come back for that S rank. I was doing a lot of admiring the environment around me. That's cool that there's like a pink gradient on Chaos Island's name there. Really big fan of like the Hub World song for Chaos Island. It might be the best of all of them so far. The pinball balls from Frontiers? You kidding me? The claw machine and pinball balls? Those are attacking me, really? The hot springs in the back! Oh, you get to see like the spiky things in the back too. I love that part of Ares Island. Ow. This is the remix they should have advertised for Chaos Island. It's not ashamed of sounding bit crushed, like a retro game. Hashtag so retro. But it kind of makes sense in the context of Frontier's story. Because you got all like this stone ancient architecture, but at the end of the day, they were like mechanical geniuses of their robots and their technology. Oh, that's how you control it. That makes sense. You can move up and down. But it makes sense because they were genius of like hardware and software and computers at the end of the day. So it's kind of fitting that they have a song like this. Oh yeah, this is the inside of the temple when you are going underground to get to an island that you can't normally travel to by rail. It's got like this big pillar on the inside of it, and you have to like run up a spiral staircase. Oh, this is like a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 mechanic. Like where you have to run on that platform to make it go on Marble Zone. Wow, what a fun little platforming callback to an older era. I know it's not exactly the same, and I don't even think it's a reference. I just think that it's like in the same vein as a classic game when we're talking about platforming gimmicks. Like even though this is a Shadow the Hedgehog game, that gimmick felt very classic. Yeah, and this is the inside of another different temple that you get to go into. Ow. Don't kill me. You know, ironically, this might help out quite a bit here. Yeah, and then here we are, back into the other temple I was talking about with the spiral staircase and the big pillar in the middle. And this is where you get one of the Chaos Emeralds. Oh, that's so cool. You actually end on like that triangular platform where Sage summons a squid and she's like, what will you do now? And Sonic's like, the best I can. I love that I just recognize every single mismatched segment of that level because I have nearly 500 hours on Frontiers. This looks like a promotional 2010s Generations cutscene. It's funny I say that. How did we go from... Is he gonna speak?
I found you, Shadow.
So cool hearing him speak in Shadow's story. The way he's animated is so different. He's hyper as hell.
Yeah, sorry.
His
That
body
Chaos
language.
Emerald and I have a date with a monster.
Well then,
He's so much more like happy and gleeful than Shadow. Okay. Ian Flynn, they can't cook you for that one. That was just a sick-ass reference line drop. I love how they casually decide this Frontiers model's hitting that pose that look way better than the original. Ah, hello, 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 we're fighting, we're fighting, we're fighting. Ah, they're bumping into each other. They referenced Sonic Heroes with that line, just straight up, and it felt so natural and everything. Is this not a boss fight, or are we just watching this as a cutscene? It's fully animated. This is like so professional. And he decides to use his Doom powers on Sonic? I guess he didn't even get the chance.
Nice hustle, but I won this one. So I'm taking the emerald. See ya.
So I guess we now know why he didn't use it in the boss fight.
I finally find you. And
Kind-
what do I see?
kinda
Sonic
sick
defeating you.
That the
What happened?
protagonists
I will beat him on equal
of this
terms.
story.
Not at all.
A fine time for you to be honorable. Now he has the Chaos
Rouge's theme
Emerald.
song, I can't even finish the thought. So much stuff is happening right now. You're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart
After
and cool and awesome.
Wow, look at you. As a professional jewel thief, I approve.
3D model Rouge with all like the modern textures and everything. Hello? Like I was trying to say, the protagonist of this game getting canonically beat up by the protagonist of the other story, and in the paths converging like that. And I love that when Shadow loses to Sonic, he isn't even like ashamed or embarrassed. He's just like, you know what? GG's, brother. But at the end of the day, he got the last laugh because he gave him the fake emerald, which isn't even just a reference to SA2 to be a reference to SA2. It actually played a part in his strategy because Sonic is a, punch first, think later kind of man, whereas Shadow is more of a tactician. He wants the most optimal route for achieving his goals. That made so much sense. So I guess Rouge is in Shadow's story after all, and canonically after she meets Sonic in City Escape as well. Pretty cool. Why is he looking up? Is she actually taller than him? Cool excuse to get all of Team Dark in the same story. I'll keep scouting around and gather intel for you. The sooner we're out of here, the better. Get this, he's being helped by his younger self from the past. Ooh, we're getting into some juicy gossip here, Rouge. They act the same, but his past self is a lot quieter. You'd like him. Anyway, I'll keep tabs on Sonic as friends to update you. She's like a spy. Even for people she would consider friends, she's keeping tabs on them like they're a liability or something. I can't believe you went through all that trouble to give Sonic that fake. You're such a softie, but he'll know it's a fake soon, so hurry up. I wonder if maybe in like the final Time Eater fight, Shadow's like, hey boy, come and grab the real one. Yeah, that was nothing short of incredible. What a good cutscene. It was animated like action you would see in Sonic Movie 3 or like the Dark Beginnings anime, which was done by like a professional studio. But they did all of that for just the video game, which sounds like something they should do since the video games are Sonic the Hedgehog's main product. So like they should put all their effort into the main product. But that hasn't been the case. That hasn't been the norm for a while. I can tell you're desperate to tell me something. I beg you, don't tell me anything. We must not pollute the time stream. If we can resolve this crisis, we will return from whence we came. Space-time will settle and shift back into place, like rippling water becoming calm again. Shadow, why you not trying to cry, bruh? That's melancholic as shit, bruh. Why you fucking try not to cry, bruh? So it seems like we've been apart longer than I thought. Have you made many friends? I saw you racing away in the distance with that blue hedgehog. He seemed nice. Okay. That's gonna give Sonato shippers some fuel. She's saying that like a parent. Oh, you've been to the Ark too. It's pretty neat. We're just canonizing the fact that Big appears in every single SA2 level? That's silly. What? Yeah, I've been there. Froggy ran off this one time and led me on a crazy adventure. I think I saw you passing by a few times. That's a good one. Yeah, I know Sonic. What a swell guy. One time, Dr. Eggman kidnapped Froggy and fed him to a water monster. Sonic helped me rescue him. True story. Because Shadow wasn't there for the events of that game. I used to have that yellow Chaos Emerald too, you know. Yup, it was my lucky charm for a while. Then one day, Froggy ate it and grew a tail, which led to all sorts of trouble. True story. Oh boy. You'll never see this kind of writing without a fan writing the game. I glaze Ian Flynn's work a lot, and it's because I grew up with his writing in the comics, and I've been waiting for a day like this, where you have a Sonic game that takes everyone seriously, that has this kind of narrative, that references these things like they really happened, and doesn't treat you like a baby nerd man for knowing that they happened. It treats you as a smart individual for playing the other games. You're rewarded for knowing the continuity nowadays. It wasn't like that for a decade, so I'm just beyond happy that they got comic people to work on these games now. Because I feel like the comics have always been the best part of the Sonic franchise in an era where the games weren't doing much interesting stuff. Oh, I just noticed on the map here, you have like classic silhouette icons for every character now, not just Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, but you have one for Omega, Shadow, Rouge, Big, Maria, Gerald, Orbot, and Cubot. I always associate those icons with like Yukawa's artwork for some reason. White Acropolis, that'd be a cool level to see in Generations. I also just noticed, I think it's pretty cool that they got rid of like the boost meter in the open zone, so that you can kind of just freely run as much as you want without it being a resource to worry about. It's kind of cool to see Orbot and Cubot in a useful part of the story as well, as opposed to only being comic relief, and also not being in a purely comedic role. Like, they still say funny things, and they're still idiots. That's not all they are in this game with this tone. That's my favorite SA2 artwork. It's insane to me that this hub world had basically no presence in any of the advertising whatsoever, because it's so big to the point where I can't even find where that well is anymore. But something tells me I'm not going to have to look too hard for it, because this looks exactly like the area that we were in the well. Is this the dusty desert cavern where we're gonna fight Mephiles? It has to be, right? Splatoon! Oh, that makes so much sense. If you want to conserve your squid form, you gotta stay in the ink, like Splatoon. And they've got, I just love these underground dungeon segments. Sky Troops, good-ass song. I use that in a lot of my videos. Oh, wow, so perfect that they actually have secret chests and everything in these underground optional-looking dungeons that you can find just for exploring. Yo, they're even playing around with, like, different senses of gravity? But yeah, just the general tone of this area, the lighting, it just reminds me of Dusty Desert, so I feel like this is the Mephiles rival fight. I will say, I'm a little disappointed there wasn't a Sonic rival fight. That was one thing I was really looking forward to, potentially. Just like the idea of fighting the main protagonist from the other side of the game, the one that saves the day, the one that's typically a goody two-shoes, seeing him from the enemy's side, with all his sass and tact, coming at you, that's the coolest thing ever, man. And it's one of the main appeals of Sonic Adventure 2 back in the day, you know? So, sad that they didn't fully commit to that, but they still gave us the most professionally animated, best action scene I've ever genuinely seen in a modern Sonic game. Not even just a modern Sonic game, a Sonic game. I'm just gonna say it, a Sonic game. That is the best cutscene in a Sonic game. We finally got something better than the awesome CG action scenes from Shadow Story and Sonic 06. Somehow, it also included Shadow, though. Funny how that works. Now, this might sound silly to say. I really would not mind a mod that kind of replaces Shadow with Sonic, because I'd love to explore these Hedgehog Engine 2 open space levels with Sonic's model. And thankfully, the file structure for Shadow Generations is near identical to Sonic Frontiers, so I guess hypothetically, you could probably import a lot of the existing skin mods from Sonic Frontiers to Shadow Generations? It's kind of funny, because for a long time we've all been saying, like, oh, can we play as someone other than Sonic? And here I am saying, I'd like to play as Sonic in this. Using the rail jumps to my advantage? Yes, and using the squid web slinging to my advantage as well. That was actually just raw open zone gameplay. Now, if there's something that I would like to see in this game, which obviously isn't going to happen, but something I would have liked to see in this game from, like, Sonic Forces and, to a degree, Sonic Frontiers, is, like, monologues, Shadow to himself about the area he's in, you know, even as just, like, an idle line that he has, or maybe, perhaps, someone's talking to him on the intercoms, like Sonic Forces, and giving commentary about where they are. If you don't mind, I'm gonna grab this fella right here, and I'll get to you later. I just gotta fling off some of the Chaos Island terrain, no biggie, I do it all the time in Sonic Frontiers. God, you are just annoyingly slightly above. There we go. Whoa, that's a really cool front-facing sketch of Shadow. I've never seen that. I always love when they, like, splay the hedgehog quills to the side when they're, like, front-facing to make them look like a squid or a star. Oh, I love this song, dude. Sorry I'm quiet, I'm just, like, locked in because this 2D platforming is actually pleasant and challenging. This is what I wanted Metropolitan Highway to be like in Sonic Forces, but Metropolitan Highway is notorious for having very uninteresting enemy placements and underutilized moving platform challenges. And you can actually move in 2D, which is not something you could do very well in Forces. I think I'm gonna hit you. Yeah, that's gonna reveal the platforming segment that I've already done because I am a curious George that has to explore everything before I do anything. No sweat off my back, especially if I do a little bit of, you know, chaos control. I just know my abilities so well now. Oh yeah, in the Kingdom Valley video, I was actually praising that they got the names right, like the Egg Gunners from Sonic 06, because they're a little niche. But they also got the name right for these guys from Sonic Frontiers. I always called them, like, spinners, because they reminded me of Eggman spinners, even though they're called cyclones, apparently. I didn't actually really know that. Oh, see, like, that is such clever mechanic utilization. It feels so satisfying to, like, effortlessly blow through them, because in Sonic Frontiers, when you kill a Cyclone or a soldier, there's always, like, the ginormous 30-second long hit stop, obviously an exaggeration, but you just feel so powerful because they feel hard as a rock. Speaking of rock, here's some color. I know these lands far too well, fella. Conceptually, it's kind of wild officially running around the Chaos Island terrain with this engine's physics, with Shadow the Hedgehog's moveset. Give me that, Orbot and Cubot need it. I can't let them down. You were designed to be the ultimate life form, a living weapon. Sonic was not. All of his talents are latent, natural. He is your equal in speed and strength. Does not compute. You're telling me, buddy. Power level's optimal. I do not run on inferior animal energy extractors like the previous E100 units. I like that they have like a scientifical name for describing why Eggman would steal the animals. Nor do I run on feeble power cores. Ooh, Sonic Heroes. I possess a unique energy core. I am unstoppable. My energy core is not related to the Chaos Emeralds. He's denying the Chaos Emerald allegations, I guess. It is a unique crystal matrix that recharges through movement and absorption of environmental energies. Therefore, I can fight forever. Filing this data under Joy. It's kind of cool seeing other characters talk about Sonic from the third perspective with him not in the room, because they're talking about this living guy like he's a legend. And here we are, I can finally reunite with Shadow's true love, Mephiles the Dark. There is no other explanation for what this boss can be. Come to Papa, thank you for blessing me with this fine meal this Thanksgiving, Time Eater. Yep, it's Dusty Desert. You can see all them...
What is this? A seal of some sort?
He forgot! Because of the timeline, you can see that Mephiles is like crystallized orbs in the background, the altar, the cave, the markings everywhere. Mephiles has to remember who he is. Dude, if they get Dan Green back, oh my god, if they get Dan Green back. This is, I gotta walk in. Is it Dan Green? Does he get to speak? Hi! He's trying to do the back laser. No back shots. I'm going insane. Please speak. Please speak, Mephiles. Please speak, Mephiles.
Then restore myself to the timeline.
Ow! Also, I gotta say, boss fights that are the same size as you are always cooler than boss fights where you fight a ginormous.
To the ultimate game of Shadow Tag.
Oh, well, I just Mario 64'd his ass. Okay.
What you're talking about, but I will crush you all the same.
This isn't Dan Green's voice. Unfortunate. But it is cool that we get to shoot him out of his shadow on the ground by using the Doom Morph. Oh, I gotta aim better than that. Okay, that's fun. It really is like Mario 64 when there's an aiming element involved. But like I was saying, it's so sick that we get to reenact this moment. And we get to challenge him hiding away in the shadows in the ground, which wasn't something he could really do before. And that's like his downward spiking animation that he used against Infinite in Sonic Forces. You get to do that in gameplay. And since we can target multiple enemies with Doom Spear, we no longer actually have to worry about taking off the inhibitors to get rid of all these clones. I'm gonna Chaos Control you so hard. His voice is so quiet, it makes me sad. It's not Dan Green, but he does a good job replicating.
I'll just take care of them all.
He sounded like such a petty bitch there, talking to Mephiles. Yeah, this reminds me of Infinite's boss fight, where you have to defeat all the clones in the air to get to the real one. That was an 06 sound. Their banter is everything I wanted it to be. Oop. Welcome back, Sonic franchise! We have truly returned. That definitely wasn't supposed to happen, but the boss fight still peaked nonetheless. I will say, gameplay-wise, not even biased or anything, gameplay-wise, this is definitely my favorite boss so far. It feels the hardest every time you hit the enemy. And the way that it actually involves your Doom powers as upgrades, so sick. So raw. Oh, you gotta break the shield first. That makes sense. He has like the crystallized shield. Oh, I guess it's taking more than one hit now. Yep. You could almost reason that me clipping through the ground like that is one of Mephiles' attacks, because he himself can actually do that. Oh, I love that. We aren't even screwing around with his trickery. We're just freezing time. He can't even react, even though he's half part a time deity. He has no idea why he's getting stomped so hard this time around. Shadow doesn't even remember him. Wow, actual motivation for Mephiles, weirdly enough. in its weird own screwed up way, he does what he does because he wants to exist. He punched him into the ground like a turnip. From which you came.
Ever.
Oh, word? Oh, word. My bad. Sorry, Sega. I just, like, thought his design was really cool and all. It's just, my bad for wanting a future for him. But, thanks for finally responding to my DM, I guess. Okay. By the way, that would have been an A rank at least if I didn't get clipped through the ground. But I will say, like, character on character, having banter back and forth is so much cooler than fighting a giant, unintelligible demon god. Both have their spot, but small body versus small body is always hype as hell, and I will not go back on that.